Good morning. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Fife, and I'll be your MC for the events today. This is the 247th Independence Day celebration for the city of Boston. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Boston as we celebrate the 247th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Winston Churchill once said, "The American democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the other forms that have tried." It is the initiation of democracy, the signing of the Declaration of Independence, that we celebrate here in Boston today, as we have for well over 246 years. Our celebration is dedicated to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces. We'll begin today with our traditional flag ceremony, followed by Boston's Independence Day Parade. First stop on our parade route will be the Granary Burying Ground for a short ceremony and laying of wreaths at the graves of John Hancock, Peter Faneuil, Robert Treat Paine, Samuel Adams, and Crispus Attucks. The parade will then continue to the Old State House for the annual 4th of July reading of the Declaration of Independence. Upon completion of the reading, the parade will reform and proceed to Faneuil Hall. Faneuil Hall was donated to the city of Boston by Peter Faneuil, a wealthy American colonial merchant and philanthropist. It has hosted so many pre-revolutionary meetings that it has become known as the American's Cradle of Liberty. It is only fitting that we conclude today's program here, as we have every other 4th of July since 1783. Joining me here on the stage are city councilors, Ed Flynn, City Council President and retired U.S. Navy. Aaron Murphy, City Councilor at Large. Mayor Michelle Wu. Mr. John Borders, Director of Office of Tourism, Sports and Entertainment. Mrs. Amy Yandel, Director of Special Events. Representative of Veterans Services for the City of Boston, Elliot Pollock. And we have representatives from Newport News, Virginia, representing the Pre-Commissioning Unit, Massachusetts, Lieutenant Wynn and her crewmate. Captain Tim Harridan, Captain Commanding of the Ancient Honorable Artillery Company and his staff. First Lieutenant Stephen Coletta. Second Lieutenant, Lieutenant Colonel Mike Warbrick, and Adjutant, Brigadier General John Driscoll. The Ancient Honorable Artillery Company of Massachusetts holds the distinction of being the oldest chartered military organization in North America and the third oldest chartered military organization in the world. And last but not least, our vocalist today is Danielle Fonseca. Captain Tim Harridan, Captain Commanding Ancient Honorable Artillery Company, kindly have your adjutant, Brigadier General John Driscoll, call the parade to attention and present arms for the singing of a national anthem by Danielle Fonseca, accompanied by the Zaba Military Band, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Call the parade to attention. Present arms. Hey! Hey!
what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Danielle. It is now my honor to introduce an Army veteran from the City of Boston's Veteran Services, Elliot Pollock, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Elliot. It is now my distinct privilege to introduce the Mayor of the City of Boston, Mayor Michelle Wu, who is the 56th Mayor of Boston. Mayor Wu is the daughter of immigrants, Boston Public Schools mom of 2 boys, MBTA commuter, and fierce believer that we can solve our deepest challenges through building community. Mayor Michelle Wu.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. Good morning and happy Independence Day. It is my deepest honor and privilege to welcome you to the City of Boston, City of Champions, birthplace of American democracy, and a home for all. I welcome guests from across Boston's neighborhoods, from across our Commonwealth and across our country. There is no better celebration of our independence than right here, where we take so seriously and with the utmost responsibility our charge to continue that journey toward a more perfect union every single day. This is a city where we take our celebrations and commemorations seriously, where we take our policy making seriously, and where we fight every day to make sure that we're building a community that truly includes everyone. In a time of increasing division and stress and our continued recovery after several very difficult years, we know that families everywhere need that sense of hope of what is possible. And in Boston, we say, to know what's possible, you just have to look at where we've been. From a ragtag crew standing up to fight for their families and their freedoms with just a sense that one day their sacrifices could lead to a better future, to our continued work today, inventing life-saving medicines, working to invest in our public schools, create jobs, and make sure that we can be that model of what it means to come together around possibility. So I want to thank everyone who helped us create today's celebration. Our commemorations of July 4th and our independence really represent the work that is still to be done. And I want to thank the Ancient and Honorables for all they do to continue building our legacy, and all of our visitors and guests and good friends from Wilmington, Billerica, Lexington, who are here with us at every commemoration. We welcome you. We're so grateful for your service. Thank you to our veterans and service people who, for all of their continued sacrifices, and their families. And we want to make sure that you can come back to Boston month after month, day by day, to help us in this work of building a more perfect union. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Now the Zava Band, under the direction of Mr. Frank Zava, will play Stars and Stripes Forever. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Boston as we celebrate the 247th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. How appropriate that we are here today, just outside this building on March 5th, 1770. 5 men were among the first casualties of the battle for independence in what would later be known as the Boston Massacre. From 1771 through 1782, a patriotic oration had been given from this very balcony. On July 18, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was first proclaimed to the citizens of Boston from this very spot. As in revolutionary times, I ask our trumpeter to sound assembly from this balcony. I now call upon our Army veteran from the City of Boston's Veteran Services, Elliot Pollack, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Elliot. And now, our vocalist, Danielle Fonseca, will sing God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Danielle. And now Captain Tim Harridan, Captain Commanding the 18th Honorable Artillery, will read the Declaration of Independence.
Declaration of Independence was publicly read for the first time in Boston on July 18th, 1776, from this very spot by Colonel Thomas Crafts, who was a member of the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company of Massachusetts. Tradition holds that a member of the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company of Massachusetts has read the Declaration of Independence nearly every July 4th since the end of the American Revolution. Action of the Second Continental Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's right. And to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to the candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the right of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to the dangers of invasion without and from convulsions within. He has endeavored to present the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriation of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat our substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislature. He has effected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of troops among us, and for protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off trades with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us, in many cases, the benefits of trial by jury, and for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislatures by declaring themselves invested with all power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring out of us protection and waging wars against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is, at this time, transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with the circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hand. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in our most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction of us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity. We have conjured them by ties of common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which inevitably corrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war and in peace friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and of the authority of good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states. That they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have the power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do, and for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. On behalf of the Ancient Honorable Artillery Company, welcome to Boston. Hope you have a great 4th of July, and let us not forget why we celebrate this great holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Jim Harridan and the Ancient Honorable Artillery. At this time, the Zava Military Band, under the direction of Frank Zava, will play Stars and Stripes Forever.
Watch out. You're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. Ladies and gentlemen, the Zava Band. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony at the Old State House. The parade will now reform and proceed to Faneuil Hall. Faneuil Hall was donated to Boston by Peter Faneuil, a wealthy American colonial merchant and philanthropist. It had hosted so many pre-revolutionary meetings that it has become known as America's Cradle of Liberty. It is only fitting that we conclude today's program there, as we have every other 4th of July since 1783. The public is cordially invited to attend. Thank you.